Hello, and welcome back to Unapologetically Wild with me, Kadi Sontag. I am so excited to be back. I know I only took a week off. However, it feels like it's been a while since I've been on here. And it has been a really wild, I'm going to say 2 weeks. So last week was my birthday. For all of you who don't know, I turned 34. And it was a beautiful celebration of, things that I got to do for me and also time with family and friends. And I feel very grateful to be where I am in my life right now. And I decided that because there was a lot going on, and this week has actually been quite a lot too, I've had multiple naps, that I needed to take a week off the podcast. And it was more fitting it in and also being able to do it justice. I felt like I didn't have the time, the energy, the capacity to actually produce something that was going to be exactly what you needed, what I needed, and also to show up powerfully. And that's been a really big thing that I have wanted to do with this podcast, is be intentional on how I show up and feel good and honor the incredible things that are happening in my life so that I can support you. Maybe that's something that's happening in yours too. So I'm grateful to be back. And I want to talk about rest and your capacity and being able to acknowledge when you've hit that point where consistency is no longer the issue, right? Because they say, be consistent, do the thing, show up all the time. And yes, that is very powerful. Discipline is a really beautiful thing. However, there gets to a point where you being consistent is actually going to be more detrimental than it is powerful for your movement forward. And I think this is really important to honor because, yes, there are times we're not going to want to do it, right? That's very different when we're like, we know we've got capacity, we know we've got time, and we're avoiding it. That's a very different conversation. However, there is a point where it's no longer, it's not about avoidance. It's not about the fact that you don't have time or, time can be a factor, but it's like you've shown up consistently and then there's a week where literally it would be more detrimental to maybe your health, mentally, physically, emotionally, to show up and do the thing than it would to not do it. And this is a really big thing that I think we've lost in society and the world, is we all preach, keep doing the thing. And look, like I said, there's merit in that. I mean, the discipline I have has built the consistency, and the fact that I've shown up consistently on this podcast for such a long time built the muscle so that I could stay consistent and keep doing the thing, right? That there's a really big thing in that. And though what I see time and time again, especially in the gym, is people keep going even when they shouldn't, even when their body tells them no. Same with life, right? Their body is literally giving them the message. And I like to think of it in 3 ways. First, the feather, touches you and it's like, okay, this is a no. Probably let's not do this. It's not good for us, not going to serve us today. And then the second time it happens, it's like getting hit by a brick. Someone throwing a brick at you, right? Being like, stop. If we keep going, this is not going to end well. And then I like to call the third one getting hit by a Mack Truck. And why I know this is because this will also happen so many times to me in my life, right? Where I keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and the Mack Truck normally takes you out. It either can be, a lot of the time, it's injury for people in the gym. It can be burnout at work. It can be feeling hopeless, feeling helpless, stuck. A lot of these things can be signs that we're sort of moving in that direction. Takes the aliveness out of life, and it takes the joy and the fun, and it becomes a chore. It becomes something that you no longer find enjoyable or exciting. And let's be honest, there's plenty of times I've gone to the gym to keep consistency when that's a thing, but there's also times when my body tells me that it's an absolute no. And it can start with a niggle. And we know the difference. As you start to learn your body, you'll start to notice the difference between a niggle that's actually going to become an injury or a niggle that's kind of like, I'm just here to let you know that maybe we should slow down a little bit or give us a bit of a reprieve or whatever, right? And the same thing happens in life. I have had moments where literally I'm laying on the couch and I'm like, I am so tired. My list is like 1,000 miles long, right? Let's be honest, we're high performing women. Our lists are fucking a whole wall length. And the part to that is like all well and good that it's a wall length. And if you've listened to my podcast before, one of my favorite things I got from one of my first coaches is an exercise where you write down the top 3 things, or actually you write down everything you've got to do, and then you come back 10 minutes later and you cross it off. And then you come back 10 minutes later again and you cross it off. And it's amazing how you find that there's only like a couple of things that are actually important to you right now and that are actually going to make momentum or are needed to be done in this moment. Whereas our brain can give us this catastrophizing thing where it thinks of 1,000 things and we just get overwhelmed and anxious and it's too much to compute. That's why writing things down is always really powerful. And then you pick the top 2 things, you get them done, you celebrate them, and you say that you're done. A lot of the time what happens is the brain's like, because we're done, it kind of naturally gravitates to doing more. But if you don't have capacity, it doesn't. And all of a sudden you feel really powerful and proud of the 2 things that you did. And at least then you feel like you've accomplished something, because half the time that's all we want to do. And our brain is just going to continuously think of more and more things to add to that list. And honestly, you can't really ever catch up, especially not in business, not in the gym, because you have a new goal and you have a new thing that you're going to chase. As soon as people get to the outcome, they just move to the next thing. How do I know this? I literally am the person who has done it. And now to the point where when I do something, and if you've seen my reel I put up a few days ago, well, actually probably weeks ago now, oh my gosh, where I'm celebrating myself, right? Like I'm dancing, I'm at a networking event and someone added me. I'm pretty sure I told this story, but if you haven't heard it, tune in. It's a really good one. I'm at a networking event and one of my girlfriends, I was telling her about my podcast. And so she subscribed and I was so excited that I did a little jig naturally, right? Like right in front of her. I like did a little dance. She's like, you just dance? And I was like, yeah, I'm celebrating myself in the moment, because the problem is a lot of the time we forget to celebrate ourselves, or we think, oh, we've got to do this big thing, right? And one of my favorite things to do with my clients is to get them to celebrate in the moment. If it's a little jig, if it's a dance in the kitchen, if it's like putting on their favorite song, something really simple they can do effectively anywhere, so that they celebrate and they don't forget to celebrate and they don't just look at the next thing straight away, right? At that networking event, they all wanted to see me dance. So like another 6 people subscribed to my podcast. It was the most amazing thing ever. And I was so grateful and I was so happy, and I was sitting in this gratitude and this happiness and this joy. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what happens, right? When you actually love things, you enjoy what you do, you feel good, yes, you consistently show up. And sometimes you feel like, when you first start, you're talking to no one, and how fun's that? You know what I mean? And you're like, cool, I get to just talk to me, like see myself on the screen. I'm like, oh yeah, girl, let's have a chat. So that's fun. And you get to do that. How powerful. Not everyone gets to create a podcast. It's pretty fucking cool. And the fact that when you're enjoying and celebrating, people are then following you and subscribing and wanting to listen is amazing. And so rest makes that possible, because if you're not resting, if you're not honoring yourself in the time to nap, for me lately it's been napping, and I'm obsessed with napping. Now, not everyone can nap, but good sleep, drinking water, eating food, like really honoring the basics. And this is what I absolutely love. I do this in my program. The Holistic Woman is my 6-week signature program I do with women to help them come back to the basics of their fitness and their health, because literally our health is our most wealthy asset. And a lot of the time for high-performing women, it's the rest that is the most important and actually the most abundant. Obviously, I just said to you I had a nap, right? And it's been a big week and I've had a few naps each day. And last week was a big week. I napped as well. I, concentrating on my sleep, had a lot going on. I went and spoke at the spiritual church, which I'm obsessed with. I'm running a workshop there. If you're in Newcastle and you want to come to my spiritual workshop, it is on the 15th of August, $50 investment. Beautiful way to meet your spirit guides, to clear your chakras, to have a energy healing imbalance. Oh, so excited. And I spoke there, and it was the most beautiful thing because I got to give a healing, and I love that. And also, I am a little exhausted, even though I'm the vessel that spirit works through. It is a little exhausting, but beautiful. And so that was amazing. And then, yes, just then when I went to sleep, I woke up with an incredible offer to a speaking offer, which is amazing, right? And so what happens is I think we underestimate the power of rest and the power of slowing down and how that can support us so much, right? I mean, we think about the most powerful thing you can do is have a good sleep. And so if you are honoring yourself and resting and actually looking at yourself and knowing when the time is to keep being consistent and when the time is your body is saying, we get to have a break, that is so important. And I think it is what helps you become so successful and powerful in your field, because you then, no matter if you're in the gym, no matter if you're growing a business, no matter if you're leading a room, if you know when to rest and honor yourself, you actually start to naturally teach people to do that as well. And you become more powerful in the moment, because if you're resting and looking after yourself, your ability to lead, manage, inspire is so much more effective and so much more powerful because you are honoring what you need. So your brain is, it's switching on and it's like actually firing better because you're nourished and you're honoring what it needs. Your body is working better, you're probably fitter and healthier and all these other things, right? And you're drinking more water and like all of these things are happening, which is super powerful in allowing you to actually be the most effective leader that you've ever been and the most powerful person and also the most authentic you, because so many more thoughts and things happen when you're tired. You start to interpret things with, a tired lens instead of like an open, ready lens, and curiosity and all these things and gratitude are much more abundant and real when you've honored the rest and actually made a choice that powerfully chooses you. And I think that is the most beautiful thing when you are leading from a choice that you are honoring yourself first, you become a better leader in every aspect of your life for the people around you. And that is really beautiful. And I think it's almost missed sometimes. So, if all you leave from this podcast today is your ability to allow yourself to rest and honor you and be more aware of how you lead your life, but lead yourself first, and then see the ripple effect that has on other people around you. Because you won't be snappy, you won't be angry, you won't be sad. Because if you honor all those things and allow yourself to rest and move through all those emotions or all the things that you need first, you can show up in such a different energy, in such a different intention, in such a different way that actually means that other people can meet you there too. And it's really, really beautiful. And it just also means that when you honor you, other people honor themselves too. So it's a beautiful, beautiful way to be. And it has come through with also abundance of opportunities, right? You know, the other week, I had a friend put up that I was helping out with an aqua class, and it was so fun. And then I had an abundance of opportunities asking if I teach aqua. And it was just really cool because you never know what's around the corner, you never know what's happening, but allowing yourself to be intentional and put yourself out there and honor your own leadership, you get to have all these opportunities and you get to choose what works for you, right? And that's the most powerful thing is like you get to honor what's right for you, what's not right for you. You can have all these beautiful opportunities and sometimes it's not going to work. And you can be like, thank you so much, but it doesn't work. Sometimes it's going to be exactly what you needed. And it's allowing yourself to have the capacity to also make that choice and to powerfully lead how you want your life to look. And that comes from being with what actually is going to serve you and leading your life powerfully. And rest is literally the key to all of it. It's where your body restores its energy. It's where your body literally, all your little muscles that you break when you go to the gym literally come back together through rest, right? They regenerate. That's where you build muscle. That's where you allow your brain to, switch off and have, be in the different cycles of sleep for repair and recovery. It is literally the peace. And so same when you're just resting and you're honoring yourself and you're drinking and eating and nourishing yourself with movement in a way that's going to actually support you. And that's saying no to things that aren't serving you. That's, allowing yourself to do whatever is right for you. And that changes all the time, but it's a check in with your body that's really, really important. So make sure that you check in, that you write things down, that you allow yourself to actually powerfully choose how you want to lead your life. And all the abundance will come, and your rest will be your best friend when you want to actually do things powerfully and be able to make really good choices and lead your life and lead others around you. So I hope that you prioritize rest this week. I'd love for you to tell me more about it. This is a very quick episode. And write down below, like, what have you done to honor your rest yourself? Maybe you said no, maybe you had boundaries, all of these things. Maybe you actually chose an opportunity that was right for you, or you rested and you got one come into you like I did with a speaking gig today. So tell me how you honored your rest, how you looked after yourself. Maybe you took a day off from the gym, all of these things down below. I'd love for you to comment. Please subscribe. I would love to. I'm still trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're at 45 on YouTube, which is very exciting. So I'd love for you to subscribe, like, comment, like I said, share it with people that you think that would resonate with this message. And I would love if you share it to tag Unapologetically Wild with Kadi on Instagram. If you don't already follow that page, I would love that as well. I am so, so grateful to be in your ears, and thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a magical, magical day and you keep being unapologetically wild and unapologetically you. Love you. Bye.